Hey guys, good morning. Couple things here. So let's get into, well, they just were waiting for that economic data to hit and then rocking and rolling, weren't they? And then they just jumped right in as soon as that data hit. All right, let's see how bad this data is. Claims came down. Let's drop it in right now. Claims actually came down. The continuing claims actually dropped, and the 4-week claims are in line, but that's actually pretty good. Let's get this, I'll pop this in here real quick. It looks like they were just waiting to get that out of the way. Initial jobless claims 227, previous 232. That's actually a great number. Continuing claims actually came in lower than consensus. Jobless claims 4 weeks, 235. So it's actually pretty good data. MP, we might as well just start jumping into it. They got DOD investment. I don't really know anybody that's going to, quite frankly, benefit as much as them right now. I mean, they're going to get all the contracts. They're going to get everything they need. Like, it's kind of crazy. You have unlimited funds for your company now. I mean, your partner's DOD and they own an equity stake in your company. It's pretty nuts. So I would imagine that this continues to grind higher. I really don't see a reason why it's not going to, but I'm trying. It looks like they were just waiting for that 830 to get behind them for money to kind of pile into it. But I really don't see why that's not just going to keep grinding. I don't know about the short interest in that. I don't know if there's a huge short interest in that or not. I can just pull that up real quick and see if there is. But I'm not really sure if there is. If there is, they're going to have a really bad day. Let's see. Okay. 30 million shares or 21% of the float is short. Good luck with that. Yeah, that's going to be a real suck salad this morning for them. And it looks like that's what they were waiting for, and now they're getting involved. They were just waiting for that 830 number to start buying. All right. So definitely something to keep your eye on, in my opinion. But, let's see how this goes. And I don't really see the need to do a lot there. If you're in it, congrats. But if you start breaking out here, you're probably going to get a lot of interest in the name. I don't know that I'm going to do a lot pre-market here. You're kind of bonking around in a lot of different areas, but this could definitely have some legs to it. There's no doubt about it. So I would definitely be one that I would be, watching today for sure. It does have some legs to it. It's really good. Let me get out of this. Sorry, I forgot I left this thing on. It's got a lot. Like, the story is really good. I mean, you have unlimited funds. And then out of the unlimited funds, you also have a situation where it's like, who are you going to use for your mining? Oh, I don't know. Maybe we'll use the company that we have an agreement with, and we'll just give them unlimited contracts. So it just becomes an arm of, the DOD to an extent. And I don't see any reason for that to change whatsoever. I just don't see a reason for that. So the data was really good. Let's get to some of the highlights here before we start going through some of the names. You can obviously see how some of these names are already acting. The video's at all-time highs, but we'll get into the news in a second because there's some really good news names today. Let's go take a look at the ES, what we're seeing here. And you're coming same super reheated. The only thing that I would tell you that's a little different, and I really don't know why it won't just allow me to get rid of this and then keep cleaning this thing off, but you keep telling me this, so I'm not really sure why. Let's click it again and try it one more time. So when we look at this, you still have that peak VWAP up here, rejection, flips it and holds, comes back down to it and holds. So you're changing a little bit here, aren't you? You're definitely changing a little bit there, and it's definitely something that I would pay attention to, but I'd watch that 63.15 level pretty quickly. Make sure you get through that. Go from there. That's definitely an area of interest. It's certainly one that I'd be watching. And then you have that 62.85 level, and that resistance to support. It seems to be have this confluence down here as well. You definitely don't want to go below that peak VWAP. And that's really how I see that. If we go and take a look at NQ and just get in there, make that happen, make the magic happen on that one. You're having a similar pattern where that peak VWAP rejection, and then they just trampled all over it up to that peak. And then you can just see how we completely rejected that peak. It was like a beautiful short, wasn't it? I mean, you really just got to the top of it and rejected hard, like right after. And then you just completely rejected, got back down to this level, tries to rally, and then you can just kind of see what's going on from there. So to me, I think it's super important, but you're kind of in a little bit of a trading range here. I don't know what's going to get you out of that. I think at some point what's going to happen here is people are just going to start grinding and grinding and grinding higher. And that grind higher is going to get them, just my opinion of it, that grind higher is just going to get them to a place of, hold on 1 second here. Give me 1 second, please. Yeah, I don't need that. All right, cool. It's just going to get you to a place of, you're going to build. And then the question is like, what's going to be your impetus? I don't know. I don't have it on econ. I don't have it on the econ data. I don't think it's going to be anyone speaking. I would say today at 1 o'clock, and I should put this really down here for you guys, but I don't have the time, so I'm not going to do it. But just remember 1 o'clock, the 30-year bond market, you're really going to have to watch that today. That's a big deal today at 1 o'clock. I'm really surprised that the 10-year at 1 o'clock yesterday wasn't as big a deal. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go get a little more coffee. Yeah, I don't think this is allergies. I definitely think it's a cold, but whatever. It'll pass. Let's get to this and look at this through the lens of the SPY for those that trade these. And, I'm going to keep the pre and the post in, but you start to see the rejection right there as well, which is kind of interesting. So are we going to go through this little nightmare again, this little suck salad? Sure feels that way, doesn't it? Looks like the top of that's your problem. There's your nemesis right there. So what does that mean? Probably means that what we should do is it's the top. It's that bar right there. It's that close on Wednesday at 9:50. That close right there. Bonk, 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 right? Matumbo, matumbo, matumbo. That's interesting too, because you did go higher. So it's not like you have a divergence. I mean, I guess you could make the argument you have a divergence here, but not really, because you were higher. So I don't think you do. I think you just have to watch that and kind of go from there. I don't think that there's anything for you to do there. I really don't. I think you have to make sure that you get through that before you do anything crazy. Don't go nuts. Just let it get through. Ever notice how guys, when they're sick, are the biggest freaking babies in the world? All right, Qs through, and then you're just not having the same semblance, right? But you are holding. I think they're your levels. I don't think I really have to do anything else fancy. I could mark off the pre-market level, like, ooh, but is that really something that I have to give a crap about? Probably not. So I like our levels there. I don't really think there's much to do it. We trampled all over this, and we trampled all over the peak VWAP, but you are starting to build off of that, and you did hit it and reject. So if we did sell off, remember, guys, you're not out of the news cycle yet, like far from it. So let's keep that in mind today when we're looking at this stuff. So again, it is what it is. And I do think that that's something that we have to, we have to really take into account here. So from my perspective, I do think it's something that we have to look at. I do. I think it's really important to think like that, and kind of go from there. But what else do we see here that's relevant? I don't really have much more there that I think is overly relevant. I'm going to take some questions, but I do want to go through some things for you guys because there might be some things that you missed. And then I'm just going to open it up to questions. And I'll jump around today, so it's not just top and bottom. But you need to be aware of a couple things. So when oil goes lower, these things are completely levered, the airlines. The most levered of all the airlines is UAL. There's not a company out there that's more levered than UAL to oil. It just is, right? So that's usually the one that lifts. These deals, like the MP, like this is a really big deal. And that could probably continue to push. The Kellogg, the fact that you're not lifting on that news that they're going to get bought makes me wonder why you're selling off. Why aren't you lifting that way? So before we go any further, I want to get that out of the way. This BTCM, you are flavor of the day, and you've already completely rejected. Flavor of the day, you're going to be the new Solana treasury thingy. So here we go. And you're like, okay, well, who cares? I think you kind of should care, but whatever. And take a look at it. I do. I think you should kind of care about it, but it is what it is. Other than that, what really here is something that you have to pay attention to today that's on the news front. And there's a couple others, but I really think that, overall, it's the tokenization that's moving the market. And I really think that you're getting very clearly defined winners in AI. And I'm going to say something that people don't really think about. These names can go a heck of a lot higher than you think they can. A heck of a lot higher than you think they can. So I'll take questions and we'll go from there. But, we're almost up 100 points now in AVGO, and I have no intent of selling it. Matter of fact, I think I've added to it 3 times at this point now. So, when you look at stuff like this, when you understand the themes, there's very little to do except stay with the theme, monitor the theme. That's pretty much it. Yeah, bought it April 24th, 187. Again, June 3rd, 250. I know I bought it more than that, but whatever. I know I did. I'm trying to think about where some of this other stuff is. What else I do really want to look at is this. I really want to go through this. Hold on one second. Yeah, that could be an issue. We're starting to get toppy. All right, let's go. Let's get to it. But they can go a lot higher than people think they can. A lot. So keep that in mind. You haven't even seen like a panic yet into them. SPY looks great. Ralph Lauren looks great. There's very little to say there. My concern is my whole concern here. I don't know enough about Ralph Lauren. You would think after all these years I would, but the cup, the handle, it's all there. I mean, it looks fantastic. The larger issue for me with this stuff is these tests, failures. The retests usually do go, and they usually do lead to a pretty significant move to the upside because you have the people that rejected here that finally kick in and buy. The larger issue is like where they do all their manufacturing. Has that been settled? Because if it has, great. If it hasn't, then that's great too. But that's really how I look at it. And I think you have to really look at it from that standpoint. I don't know. I don't know where they do all their manufacturing. I know it's not in the U.S. LYB. Let's do LYB. So these kinds of names, when you start seeing XLB get a bid, you want to pay attention. When you start seeing like Lin get a bid, you want to start paying attention to names like LYB, especially with all the defense stuff going on in Europe. Definitely. UNH, I would just not touch. Everyone's like, it's cheap. It's cheap for a reason. Like, I just wouldn't go near it. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I don't know how you buy it. I really don't. You're buying it because it's cheap. I've watched more people lose more money buying stuff because it was, quote, cheap. I've never really watched a lot of people lose money buying things because they were expensive. I've seen a lot of people complain about other people buying things that are expensive, but I wouldn't go near that, Lise. Well, it looks like, it came out, it leaked that they were going to do it. I don't know the terms. Let me see if I can find them real quick. Let's see this. Potential bid, cash in stock. I don't know. Did the deal actually go through? According to this service, it didn't. Did they actually accept it? This is interesting. I don't really see that. I don't really see it. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can go somewhere else and look real quick. Let's see if I can look at this real quick. They didn't get an offer yet. From what I can see, they didn't get an offer yet. So I don't know. Maybe it's just not on the tape yet, or maybe you have something I don't, but I don't see it yet, Lisa. So I wouldn't go near either. If I'm wrong, post it. I don't have time to go through all the news sources. What's up, Kev? Yeah, I think you got your shot, right? I think you have a shot right there. 233.85. If you get through that, you have your gaps right there at 243. I mean, it's right there, dude. Like you nailed it. Congrats. Let it play out. Don't be in a hurry. MP, MSTR, AMPX. MP went through. You are looking like you're shaping up here. You're definitely over the peak VWAP, and you're definitely starting to curl up on the peak VWAP, which is really interesting. So it took months to develop that, almost a year, where that's happening. And you seem like you're in good shape now. I sold puts out to December, and I have calls out to December. So I'm pretty happy there. The calls are up. I'm sorry, the calls are down $15, but I sold puts against the calls. So I'm up $52 in that. So net, I'm up $30 on that option, like the whole trade. So I'm fine with it. If it just sits here, I'm fine with it because I'll make 100 plus wherever the stock goes. But it's getting to that point where I'd like the option to pop, maybe get out of the calls and just hold the puts. But we'll see. See what happens there. MHO, Julian, I think you're in the right spot. I would really watch that stuff today. Beezer, I don't like at all because they're really mismanaged. But that whole space, I'm really surprised. I think you're going to see a lot of movement today in that. I think you actually see people try to get ahead of the 30-year bond auction today. Went from Phoenix. Good morning from Miami. Amazon got an upgrade today, right? People love it. I don't know. Do people not like Prime Day as a guide anymore? I mean, that seems to be an issue. The Google, I think the news is bigger than when people think it is, but I guess I'm alone in that. What I would say is this: you held that level, man. Like you held it. You went right to it, and man, you had buyers right there. Boom. So, and as soon as, I mean, like instantly drops, buyers, drops, buyers. I mean, like buyers to the point where like everyone's like, oh, okay, they're there. Let's go. I tried shorting here over and then broke. I'm like, okay, well, that's probably it. They bought that too. So they're your really big levels on Google. But if I came down, if I really wanted to buy it and I came to there, that would be my area of interest for sure. 100%. I mean, I was really surprised that held because that's, to me, it's bad news. Because if Google just installs something like that on their phone or Apple installs something like that on their phone, it's pretty much game over for search. As far as growth. So if we would, it's fine. I don't think there's much to cover there. Yeah, there's a couple things that we should probably cover. So NTR, when you look at that, what do you say? Right. So does this space start to move again? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your driver is because it really needs something to happen with like Europe, Ukraine, and Russia for them to really start moving, doesn't it? To start really seeing that happen. The CRSP, yeah, you're there. I don't know what today's news is, why you're up $3, but you're getting there, man. Like this stuff's coming back in vogue. You're seeing the buying coming in, the turning. If interest rates start saying lower, they're going to buy biotech and they're going to buy the best biotech. And really right now, that's like CRISPR and that kind of stuff. If you start looking at that kind of thing, these kinds of trades, no one wants to buy this stuff when they're completely washed out, right? Like nobody ever really looks at it and goes, oh, I want to buy it when it's washed out. They always want to buy it, when it's breaking out, the Momo guys. But I mean, you got to be super careful here. So why do you have to be super careful? I mean, you're at like here, even if we got rid of the pre and the post, and like in a 4 hour, you're at like a 90. Like, yeah, it can keep going. Yeah, it can keep doing this, and then yeah, it can pull back. But every single time you're at a 90 on this thing, man, like you just gotta be super, super careful, because it tends to mark. Like, yeah, you could be at the top. Now people are like, oh, well, what happened here? Yeah, it ended in tears. Like, okay, maybe you got out at 160 and it went to like 220, but like if you didn't get out, what happened? You got destroyed. So, not saying you can't play it, but when you're in that kind of arena, you really got to watch what you're doing because it's telling you that you got an issue. Very rarely are you going to see something get to that level and they not reject. So if you look at that level and like how many times have you been here and how did that go? Not really well. And it's important to kind of look at stuff like that. If you're looking for a day trade, yeah, it's there for sure. It's probably definitely there. So, but I do like the name and I do like biotech. I don't know that today's your day. You're forming a flag. I mean, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not really a fan. I really don't see a reason that I have to be in this name, like at all. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely huge, dude. I don't think people fully get that yet. Like, oh, you mean like every deal? Like, yeah, we're going to get every deal. Like, even it, and honestly, all they did was wait for 8:30 to show you their hand. That's all they did was wait for 8:30 and say, oh no, we're buying. And then from there, there was just like, oh, we are, yeah, we're buying. So it makes a lot of sense. Even again, it's telling you, see how tight this is getting? It's telling you that you're going up again here. So like you have unlimited funds now to go and do whatever you want to do with this space. And you don't think they're going to get crazy contracts that are going to be padded? Like, yeah, they are. Like it's game over. So the question is, where do you buy it? And you kind of have to go from there, but it is what it is. 8:55. All right. We have to go soon, guys. I don't know the news. I don't know what they're doing. I would have to know the news. I wouldn't go near this thing with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't touch that. I don't know that I would short this. I don't know that I would short this. I have a position in it, and I've been in it for a while. We've had guys that are in this thing since $4. So I just think you have to look at what's happening. Like, you're breaking the 22. There's not much more for me to say here. So if I do it again, I'm probably going to close it. I'm probably going to close the trade. I'm giving it like 1 day to get its act together. I've owned it since 30. I knew I wasn't going to get this out of it because I'm trying to stay in it long term, but pardon me. It's definitely something that, you start breaking the 22, you got to go, okay, well, what am I doing? What do I really want to do here? It's definitely a pickle. So let me just see something here. I'm going to watch this thing. So, watch this trade. Where is this thing? Yeah, there you are. Yeah, you're just going to keep going. Keep getting squeezed, right? Say it. You just got squeezed again. Right from that congestion, boom, breakout. So, and you're up 5 just from there. It's just going to keep doing this as people start to really understand it. It just is. It's pretty much game over. The question is, how do you get in? You can either scale in, use the open, something like that, but you're just probably going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So maybe get some volatility off the open. You can use trading economics. They're really good. I think you have to look at it that way, dude. I'm not going to have time to go through all these. It's just so easy to use sometimes. Zero thoughts, Ricardo. I have no interest there. Maybe it holds, maybe it doesn't. I don't know what this thing is. I know people always talk about it. Yeah, like, who cares? Like, who cares? I mean, seriously, like, okay, they came it up for 5 minutes to dump it on you. Like, why would you do this? Like, for what purpose? You know what I mean? Like, there's no purpose to it. So I'm going to have to start doing something there. Let me just go through this. Yeah, I don't think they went through that deal yet. I just think I just don't think people don't get this yet. I think they're going to, but we'll see. KLG 23 a share. Is that what they did? KLG 23 a share. Is that where it is? Well, that's not 3 billion. That's for sure. So that's the end of that deal. Yeah, because they thought it was going to get bought for 27. That's why you got to get out of this crap when you can. You never know until it's announced. And I wouldn't even touch it now. I bet you drops. I bet you drops because so many people are long it, waiting for it. All right. What else do we have here? I got to go over. I think it's important. Yeah, you're just going to have to do that, I think. I give a choice at this point. It's just not going to matter. I don't think the price is even going to matter. I think people are just going to buy the living heck out of it. I really do. I don't think it's even going to matter, quite frankly. Yeah, send a cancellation email, dude. That's fine. No problem. Yeah, I think, I mean, you get through 50, you're going to get the whole other wave of it now. Let's see what else do we have here? You can get up to 58, it looks like, before you're out of options. And, you know, the amount of short interest that's in it, I don't think it's going to stop personally, but we'll see how this plays out. All right, guys. See ya.